Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Tier 8 Chinese Premium tank, the T-34-3. This tank is not very big, and it looks pretty much exactly like a Type 59 or a WZ-120 or a Type 54. Anything that looks similar to that is this thing. You've got some of the same attributes as well. Hit points isn't one of them. You've only got 1,300 hit points, which is a little bit less than what you get with like a Pershing or a Centurion and things like that. Your weight is 36 tons, so you don't want to be ramming too much either. You've got 520 horsepower engine, and honestly the acceleration was kind of sluggish. Not really the high point of the tank, even though the top speed is 50. You will hit that, but only on like good surfaces and going downhill. Traverse speed is good, and your turret traverse is really fast, so you won't be getting circled too much in this thing either. View range is also decent at 380, so you won't be really shortchanged in that department either. Size-wise and armor, the tank's a little bit plump looking. It's not super tall though, so it's pretty decent. It's not bad at all. The armor, as far as what you got in the front, you got a 90 upper plate, lower plate, and if you angle it heavily, you'll maybe bounce some stuff from tier 6s and 7s. Anything from tier 9 will pretty much just go straight through your hull anyway, especially in the sides and the back where you got virtually none, so don't count on doing anything except maybe side scraping and hopefully stuff eating into the side. But don't over angle or stuff will just hammer right through the side of your tank. The best part of the armor on the tank is definitely the turret. You've got spaced armor mantlet with 190. These cheeks are one big huge armor zone of 190, and they're sloped back this way and they're sloped out to the side, so going to the front of the turret's actually pretty damn tough. You've also got the two weak spots on the top. These two hatches have less armor than the front, so if you want to aim at anything, you're point blank and you can shoot down a little bit, shoot here. Or if you can kind of shoot down on top of the turret, that also works. But yeah, the turret's good for bouncing, and if you can stay hull down, that tank's a lot stronger than it is if it is actually exposing any of the hull. If people are going to shoot at you, they're going to shoot at your hull, so try and hide it if you can. Next, we'll jump on to the gun, which is not the best. You've got a 122mm D25 TA gun, shoots every about 10 and 11 seconds at best, more like 11. And you've got normal-ish pen, 175, 250 heat rounds, which are kind of useless. I hate them. And you've got 390 alpha damage across the board. You've got 0.46 accuracy, which is bad. And you've got 3.4 aim time, which is also bad. It isn't a good sniper tank. You don't really want to be doing that with it if you can help it. One other thing to mention about the gun is it only has like -3 to 5 gun depression, so you want to be not like doing too much stuff with that. All right, ladies and gents, we are on, what is this, Siegfried line? And we're going to head up to the base of the hill here to see if we can get spots and shoot at anything these guys are spotting. So we get up here, and looks like we've spotted a tiger. You can see how long it takes for the aiming reticle to aim in. It's like a half century, but when you do hit on a light, soft target like a tiger, you can do 400 damage, which is pretty good. And off to my left, I can see an MT-25. So you can see that I'm kind of struggling to get the gun down because the gun depression's bad. And I'm aiming to the left and seeing if he's going to come up, and he eventually does. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to aim. I'm going to pre-aim him over here though. Fire on the move, hit him for 344. If you fully aim, you can get some of these shots in, and he ends up dying. So doing okay so far. And we're moving up to the front. Gonna see if we can get a shot on this T-21. He's not paying attention at all. So we're gonna roll over, hammer a shot into him. Super Pershing finishes him off. We took a shot from the left-hand side, probably from the object. And I've got another shot at the T-21. I'm gonna stop and fully aim. Managed to hit him. Not bad. So far we've actually been doing quite a lot of sniping. And it's kind of worked out. And it would work out better if I could get a shot into this SU-152. And we do, so that's nice. And we've almost got a shot, it looks like, at the side of this Black Prince, and then he goes dark. So I just decide to see if he maybe will pop out, and then I think better of it, because I would like to go over here and try and shoot this IS-6. Got pretty lucky that I was able to hit him in his weak spot in his turret. And we've got another shot at this T-21, so we'll just take it while we've got it. And he's moving around a little bit, but we still managed to hit him. Then T-69 drives by, and now we're all completely alone. Put myself in a pretty nasty position, and gonna put a side on the shot into the IS-6, doing full damage to him. But now we're taking damage, like things aren't going good. Another shot into the IS-6. There's not much I can do here, and we're dead. But ended up doing 3,242 damage. A lot of it at fairly long range. Didn't really bounce a heck of a lot. And yeah, just in general, not too bad. Ended up doing a fairly decent amount of damage for a team that just kind of melted and died really quickly. We died fairly quick. It was a short game, but it was fun. Next one, we're on Westfield. Maybe not the best map for this tank. If I went into the city, it'd probably be better, but I wanted to see how I could do in this area with the gun depression that I had. And it's one of the areas where the tank struggles more than other tanks, simply because of that reason. Only have one clicker on the enemy team, which is nice. So we're going to pop up. We'll see if we can spot any tanks. And yep, ended up getting a T-30 and a Panther 2, and there's a T-49, and to my left there's also an IS-8. Problem is the gun depression is not great, and I can't get it down enough to shoot this T-30. The only shot I have is a really cruddy shot at the top of his turret, and it managed to shoot the dirt anyway, even though a lot of the reticle wasn't showing dirt, but it decided to go low. But we're spotting this guy, and our artillery, we have two lower tiered artillery, are shooting into this T-30. So you can see I took a shot from the T-30, bounced right off the front. Armor working as intended, but unfortunately, just can't get the gun down. And it doesn't go down better from the side either. So I'm sitting here struggling, and then boom, get shot by something camping in the back. Something back there hit me, and whatever it was, it didn't even actually like leave a mark, which is really cool. So it's nice to know that you can get hit and it doesn't leave the hit marker properly. Whatever it was, though, it hurt a lot. It was like 300, 400 and something damage. Probably a Borsig, because only a Borsig could sit out in the open in plain sight and be able to hit you and not get spotted. Pop up again, just testing to see if I can even get the gun down, and not even remotely close. So I haven't done any damage yet. It's one of the things about the tank that's most annoying. CR-103 just took a huge shot from that guy, and still I'm struggling, and I don't want to go over because there's enough guys that can shoot me, and especially that Borsig who was just waiting for me to pop over. So it's a bit of a waiting game. And I saw the IS-8, and I thought, you know what? I'll go over and shoot at him. Especially when I can see that he's fired. So I'm going to pop over, 175 pen, gonna aim, and it completely whiff missed. It looked like it completely missed the entire tank. I aimed it about halfway for about like 1.5 seconds there, and it didn't snapshot. It didn't do anything. So fully aim your shots in the T-34-3, otherwise you won't hit anything. And even then, with the way the accuracy works now, it might have shot the ground anyway. So now I'm taking the tank into a position where it is going to be able to succeed a little bit better, but it's still struggling. I have to get it to this flatter part of the ground because I still can't get the gun down to even shoot at this Indian Panzer if he does come around. Get a really lucky snapshot. It actually went remotely close to where I wanted it to that time. And unfortunately, there's a KV-5 who's going to maraud over the top here. I was hoping I could get a shot into his hatch or his little radar dude. That didn't happen. So we're going to try and shoot it again. Hitting him for 330. And now the Indian Panzer's got my back. So I'm going to try and get around him and use the M103 as cover. But my engine's dead, and I didn't really think I needed it too much to go downhill, so I didn't bother repairing it yet. So I'm going to drive over this way, and the Indian Panzer, I'm not sure why he wasn't shooting me. He probably could have. So I'm going to come around, put a shot into that guy, and now I've got to try and get in behind the Egg Panzer, and I don't have to because I actually got a little bit of help there from our Type 61 that popped over the top of the hill from Bulba. So thanks to that guy, we did pretty alright. Managed to rack up 2 kills and not die with 49 hit points left. I think that Godzilla mode guy is actually a Gold League player. That probably explains why he's pretty good. So now the only thing left to do is to go and mop up kills and annihilate people. As you can see, going like downhill and stuff, it can do 45 to 50 kph. So it's good for cleanup damage at the end of games, which is pretty much what this one is amounting to now. I'm not sure why I lost all my momentum there. Bad physics, of course. And since I have no hit points, I'm not really wanting to be the first one out. And looks like we've probably got shots at a Super Pershing as well as a Comet, so I'm going to stop and fully aim at the bot, and he ended up getting hit beforehand, so that was good. And now we've got a shot at the side of this Super Pershing who's not paying attention either, so we'll drive up to him, plant one into him, so that's good. And then the only other tank around here is this Borsig, so almost got a shot into him. The only thing left to do now is to kill is to try and kill the clicker. So let's get down here, try and find the clicker, take him out. He is a Batchat 155, so he could be driving, turning his turret, and going over a jump, and he'd be able to still hit you on the move because they're just retarded that way. And where is he? I know you're back in here. I know you're hiding, and I know I'll have to be beside you before you get spotted. And I get spotted, and he doesn't get spotted. And there, he finally gets picked up. Now I'm going to stop, put a shot on him for 440, and finish him off. So I ended up racking up 5 kills in this one. Didn't do a whole ton of damage. It ended up being like 2,000 and a bit, but kill secured a bunch of tanks, especially near the end. And mostly the lighter stuff that I didn't need to load any special rounds for. But curiously enough, it actually ended up being a first-class mastery badge. I did not expect that. And it didn't really make a lot of sense. Even looking at the after-game stats, I didn't spot a whole bunch. I spotted tanks initially, but it wasn't a huge damage game for me. But killing 5 tanks evidently is something that this tank doesn't do very often, so it ended up getting me a first class, which is pretty funny considering that my first game I did over 3,000 and it didn't get me anything. So clap, clap. Good job, Wargaming. Now we're on Lakeville. Lakeville, the place with so many little things that you have got to shoot through that you can't see anything because you don't get outlines. So I'm missing the shots on this IS-2, basically because I can't get a clean shot at him because there's just so much junk shit around the top of Lakeville. So I pop around and didn't want to be out there for too long, but honestly I can't see him through all the crap. So not working out too good. My new plan is to roll around and shoot this IS. So we're going to stop. Pretty sure I'm not really spotted at this point, and we're going to wait for him to pull out again. And give me enough, and he gives me his lower plate, so I'm able to hit him for a lot of damage. Now I'm going to reload. And we've got another shot at this guy, and I honestly can't see any of them again because of all the junk shit in the way. And we've got the IS-3 who's trying to come around as well. So it's going to be interesting. And now I can finally see this guy, so I can get a real shot at him, set him on fire, but he hits his extinguisher real quick. Or he had an auto extinguisher. And the FCM, he was content with sitting in front of this IS-3 for whatever reason. Now, coming around on the IS-3, I AP loaded. I hit him, but I didn't pen him. So we're going to come around and try and finish off the IS because he's poking around behind him. So, kill secured the IS. Now I'm deciding that I'm going to switch at this juncture to load a heat round so I can have a better chance of trying to penetrate this IS-3. Especially if I'm shooting down at him, I'm going to have a bit of an advantage. So I come around, and the shot doesn't get eaten by his space armor on the side, so that was good. I can see that he's aiming up at me. I don't really want to go around and give him like free damage for no reason. And being that this is Lakeville, I can't be around there for too long, or there will be any number of hidden tank destroyer tanks down there just waiting to shoot me. And again, I can't take snapshots with this tank and be very confident I'm going to hit, so I'm always just kind of waiting so I can get a better chance to get a real confirmed hit. And sometimes it means like waiting and not getting a hit, but it's kind of better to make sure you can secure damage if you can. So I'm just looking around, and I can see that, okay, great, this guy's come around, and he hits me, and I managed to shoot the dirt because the accuracy isn't very good, and his DPM is really hurting me now. So I've got to try and get around, and I don't want to give him too much of the tank, and I don't really have anything great to shoot at as far as... I don't want to shoot at his upper plate, and I could probably maybe try and go for his upper casement thing around his gun, but not really the best of shots, so I decide that I'm just going to turn around. I don't need to try and push into that position. And now you can see I've got a long range shot at this T-35-2, and he goes invisible in plain sight, so I take a shot anyway, doesn't hit him. Thank God for the invisible tanks. T-34 is really beat up, and I'm just kind of like seeing if I can bait this guy into shooting at me to just even confirm that he's still there. And nope. Nope, no, he is still there. And I managed to pound one through him just with the heat round. But he's still steadfast. He wants to sit here and aim at me the entire game. So I'm going to give up on this plan to try and come around on him. I don't feel like trading damage with him, especially when the heat rounds are not the most confirmed thing to pen. And I'm going to come around on IS-3, take a massive shot. And then I'm getting shot at campers from the base. Probably that T-25-2 that I didn't manage to shoot because he went invisible. And things went from good to bad really quickly. We were winning pretty handily. Now it's almost tied. And there's a KV-2 and a T-25 in base, and the ARL and their artillery are dealing with this. So my plan right now is to, like, the Panther 2 is a one-shot. I'm a one-shot. I just basically wanted to get back here and support and spot for the artillery if we were going to be able to shotgun something. But for whatever reason, this Esprit player decided that he was going to go in there and go gangbusters and try and take out the Yag Tiger 88. I don't really understand what his plan was. He was going to go in there and shotgun something, but... And now you can see that our team decided that they were going to throw the game. Basically what happened in the rest of this game is the AMX and the ARL decided that they weren't going to camp, they weren't going to cap and hide behind the base because these guys were probably not going to be able to get back to actually go back and shoot them. So what ended up happening was they drove around, the ARL got killed, then the AMX drove back all the way through the valley, all the way around and through here, hid in the corner of the map, and I got to fight these two guys by myself until they both drove all the way on the back of the map, and they ended up capping out And we lost. So if you're ever here and you see the enemies are here, just cap. And the last replay of the T-34-3 will be on highway. I'm going up to the top of the map. It's basically be me and a bulldog. We're going to try and hold this flank while the whole rest of the team is either going to camp base or head into town. So I thought, you know what? If I can hold this flank, I've got a pretty good chance at winning, right? I did not expect two T-29s to come this way, as well as a Cromwell, a T-37, and there's also an SU-152 back there, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of tanks. So a lot of their team actually went this way. So I'm coming around, I'm aiming, I'm still aiming, still aiming. And that really puts you out there to get shot by a lot of other tanks that, like that T-29 that just popped up. And I considered running away back to the base at this point, but I decided that I was going to stay, and I was going to try and come in here and help this bulldog a bit more if he doesn't kill him right now. But he ended up doing that, so I decided to stop and shoot the other T-29 instead, giving him a nice 400 damage. You gotta give props to the bulldog. He gave it a good go. Now watch this. Totally missed. That was like probably like 9/10 aimed as well, and it still managed to miss. Didn't miss that one, thank God. New plan is to try and get down here and only expose my turret and help out this bulldog, because it's really only me and him. We've got a little bit of side shot help from a Lion and a Dicker Max and an E25. But right now I only have a turret of the T-29 to shoot at, so it's not really a prime target. It's not good to shoot at. And the only other weak spot on the T-29 turret is like there's a little lip above the mantlet, and there's the little hatch on top itself, and I can't get the gun down, so I gotta back up. And by the time I back up, I can't get the reticle small enough to even get remotely close to hitting that weak spot. So I just got to keep rolling around and try not to take too much damage here. And hopefully some of these guys will try and like push around on me where I can shoot at something other than a T-29 turret, which is kind of a shitty target to shoot at. So I'm backing up, seeing if I can get a shot at this Cromwell, and got a little bit of a shot, so I start aiming. Shoots the dirt instead. And the T-29, he's going to want to come around and shoot at me probably. So we're going to back up. And turret managed to bounce that shot, because the turret's great. It's honestly the best thing about the tank. And I don't know what really possessed the bulldog to go in there and try and take out the T-29 frontally. Like, he played good up to that point, but then he decided to murder derp himself. And now you can see that half the team has died, even though we had a lot of tanks that actually went to town, but they just got massacred. And that kind of changed how I was playing right now. Like, I was like, okay, I got to try and get rid of the T-29, but I have a Nashorn and an ISU back here, so I can't exactly push around in the T-29 because the ISU is sitting on that back hill, so he'll just shoot me in the side if I try. So I've got to try and whittle this T-29 down and then try and get around into base and maybe cap out. That was my plan, because we were losing heavily at this point. And for whatever reason, he didn't want to come around. I was able to sit out in the open right now because there was no clickers. There was no one who was going to shoot me. And then the ISU drives around, shotguns me, doesn't aim, and does only like 400 damage to me, which was nice because he didn't have the big gun. And I'm going to take a shot from that guy. It ends up bouncing. He comes around, doesn't get to snapshot me that time, but I get to put a shot into his lower plate, so that was good. So I'm just going to keep backing up, take a shot in the hull from the T-29 and kind of juke him a bit. Got a little bit of help from that T-25 AT. And I know this guy's back here somewhere, this ISU. And before I can hit him, the T-25 AT takes him out. So it's pretty easy to see what the main problem is with this tank. It's the gun handling is really, really terrible. You basically need to fully aim every shot, and it can sometimes take up to 4.5 seconds before the reticle even starts closing. And it's frustrating, and even with a 9-skill crew, it doesn't matter. The gun handling of the tank is really, really poor. You can see I'm climbing a little bit here, and I'm still only doing about 35 to 40. So the tank doesn't accelerate exceedingly well either. Honestly, the best thing about this tank is its turret, because it's not very accurate. It takes too long to aim, and the only other thing that's good about it, I guess, there's two things. The turret armor is good. It only sees tier 9s, and it makes a gobsmacks of money. And you don't really need to do more than $2,000 to make about 77 grand with a standard account, I think. That was, I don't know, you can see in the battle results how much I was making. From this game, I ended up making 75,000 for 2,800 damage, which is actually, it's a fair bit for a tier 8 medium tank, but the only praying hope now was that only one guy on their team would get on Capt. Because I'm alone. And I knew the Nashorn was coming back. He was somewhere in here. Hiding, of course, because he's in a... I thought he was in a bush over here. But he was back here somewhere. And the only other fast tank on their team that ended up coming back was T-34. And he's going to roll around in front of me in a sec. Like right now. He's going to shoot, and he's going to hit the barn. So instead... I was kind of guessing that the Nashorn would be the one that showed up, so I actually had HE loaded, so I didn't do that much damage to the T-44. And then I got hit at the end, and I got set on fire. But it, yeah, bit of a calculation on my part that the Nashorn might show up and he had full hit points, but I don't run all the mods that have all the cheat shit for when it shows like what tanks have how much damage left or like hit points left. So I didn't know how many hit points he had. I was just kind of guessing that he might have been full and that I could maybe just roll high on him and really do a lot of damage to him. But instead it only equaled 150 damage to the T-44 instead of 400. So I probably could have gone over 3,000 for this game, but that didn't end up happening. And I got set on fire at the end as well from probably the side shot from the T-44, and the other hit from the Lion didn't help either. So yeah, just in general, like I outlined everything that sucks about the tank. It doesn't move that well. The hull armor really doesn't really bounce a heck of a lot. I think I bounced one shot there, but the main turret armor is great. That's the best armor on the tank, and if you can show that, then you will bounce stuff fairly consistently. I don't think I got penned through my turret the entire time I played this thing. It makes good credits. It only sees tier 9s, but the gun is just terrible. Honestly, if you have a Type 59 or a T-34-2, like you won't need this thing. And I can't really fully recommend it. Like it's not bad. Like it generates good credits, but it's kind of average to below average. It's not a very good tank, and I didn't really enjoy driving it. I drove it for quite a few games to try and see if I could kind of shake it off, but the gun depression and a number of other things just it can't make it a recommendation from me. So unless you're like a die-hard Chinese tank fan, then I would probably take a pass on this. And if I was going to spend the money and I really wanted a Chinese premium tank, get the Type 64 or the 112. I would prefer those two tanks over this. The 112's maneuverability is almost the same, and at least you have an upper plate that works, even if your lower plate's crap. It's better than having a complete hull that's totally crap. So just get the 112 instead of this, unless you're dead set on it. And that's going to conclude the review. Thanks for watching. See you later, guys.